the second-round pick in the 2003 NFL draft, has decided to hang him up, saying, quote unquote, "My life's purpose is bigger than football. At this time, I feel drawn to make the larger fight for human rights a priority." That's Anquan Boldin here on the show. How are you, Anquan?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I am doing great. Let's talk about your decision to retire after signing with the Buffalo Bills. Did you just decide one day after practice, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore, I don't have it anymore? Or what was your process going through this, Anquan?
Well, for me, I still have the passion to play football. I mean, for me, football has been something that I've always wanted to do since I was a kid. So it wasn't that I, wasn't able to play football anymore or didn't have the passion or the desire to play. I just felt led to do something else. It's been an honor for me to be in the NFL for 14 years. Not many guys can say that, so I definitely feel blessed to have that opportunity. But I think at this point in my life, there's something that's more important to me than football.
And what is that more important thing?
Fighting for justice, fighting for equality in this country. I think anybody with a pulse can see how divided we are as a country right now. And it breaks my heart to see where we are as a country. And I think the only way that we can fix where we are is if we as people stand up and fight the injustices that are going on.
Would you still be playing football today if Charlottesville did not happen?
There's a possibility. But for me, it isn't just about Charlottesville. For me, I've been contemplating this for a couple of years now. When I was in San Francisco, unfortunately I lost my cousin to an undercover officer. My cousin broke down on the side of the road, and it cost him his life. And I think for me, that event started the cycle of me thinking about retirement.
Anquan Boldin joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show. So how will you go out into the community now and try and accomplish what you want to accomplish?
Well, for me, I'll continue to champion the efforts that I've been doing for the past couple of years. We have programs in place. I'll continue to advocate for those that don't have a voice. I'll continue to try to mend the relationships between the community and police. I'll continue to go to Capitol Hill and try to get different laws and bills passed. I'll continue to meet with senators and congressmen on both sides of the aisle to try to bring this country together, man. Like I said, I'm heartbroken by what I see from us as a country, the hatred that's going on, the bigotry that's going on. I don't think, for me as a father of two boys, I wouldn't be comfortable leaving this earth and leaving my two sons in America that I see today.
Well, what would you say to those who hear this, Anquan, and say, how can Anquan Boldin make a difference when we are so divided as a country?
Well, for me, I would be naive to think that I could solve all of the problems that we have in this country. But I do think that I can make a difference. I think we all can. I think the thing that we don't give ourselves enough credit for is, stepping up to the plate and being able to make a difference. I think if everybody felt the way that I felt and everybody, chipped in and put words to action, I think you will see a difference.
So what do you make of the protest in front of league headquarters on behalf of Colin Kaepernick yesterday, Anquan?
I think all of the protests right now that are going on is just people crying to be heard. I think people understand that there is a divide in this country. I think people understand and see that there are some injustices and unfairness that is going on in this country, and people want to be heard. People are crying out. I see players on the sideline taking a knee. And for those players, it's not about disrespecting the flag. It's not about disrespecting the veterans who have fought so hard for the freedoms that we have. But it's more so about the things that guys have to deal with. I think one thing that people don't really understand is just because you're a professional athlete doesn't exempt you from the things that go on in in everyday lives. You're still a citizen. You're still dealing with the things that everybody else deal with. You just have an opportunity to live out a dream to play a sport that you've always wanted to play. But we're no different than anybody else. Like I said, being a professional athlete didn't prevent my cousin from being killed. Being a professional athlete doesn't prevent me from being racially profiled or pulled over just because of the color of my skin. So don't get it twisted. Like, just because you're being paid to play a sport doesn't exempt you from the everyday part of life.
Yes, and I am 1,000% with you, Anquan. I am in a position, though, that I want to give the opposite viewpoint some airing with you right here. And that is that, yes, you are an athlete and have every right to use your First Amendment rights, as Colin has done and everyone else. But why on company time, if you will? I mean, you are leaving the game so you can hit Capitol Hill and you can do the things that you are saying needs to be done in this country. Why then take a knee during a game when people are tuning in to watch you play?
I believe guys are doing that because that's when they're most visible. If guys did it in practice, it would go unnoticed. Media isn't there to take notice of it. People aren't watching practice. So I think guys are doing it at a time when they're most visible. And as you can see, it's drawn a lot of attention to the cause. The thing that I see is even a year before Colin took a knee, I was advocating for some of the same things because I had lost my cousin a year prior to. And as loud as I was talking, as much as I was trying to get the message out, nobody listened. But as soon as Colin took a knee, it was the conversation everywhere around this country, in barbershops, in schools, in everybody's home. Everybody was talking about it in churches. You name it, wherever you went, the conversation came up. So I think it was a necessary thing to happen to be able to bring this conversation to the forefront.
And I'm going to ask you the million-dollar question then, Anquan, of the moment, and that is, would you advocate people to boycott the NFL should Colin Kaepernick not have a job when toe meets ball on the season on September 7th between the Chiefs and the Patriots?
I think everybody has to make a decision for themselves. I think you have some guys that are comfortable with boycotting the NFL, and I think you have some guys that aren't. Just the same way as you have some players in the NFL that are comfortable with taking a stance, and you have others that aren't. I think it all depends on where you are as a person.
So before I let you go, Anquan, how can people who have heard what you have said, saw what you put out there in your statement, are listening to you right now, how can we support you? How can you be supported?
I can be supported by the programs that we have in place. I can be supported by different op-ed letters that we're writing. We can be supported by different bills that we're trying to get passed. I think there's the different ways that you can support this movement, and I think there's different tiers to it. We have a lot of guys in the NFL that are not taking knees on the sideline, but guys that are going on social media and reposting tweets that we have. We have guys that are willing to implement different programs in the communities that they're in. And then we have guys who are comfortable enough to go and take meetings in front of congressmen and senators on trying to get different bills passed. So I think there's different levels that people can get involved, but I would just encourage everybody in some form or fashion to make sure that they get involved.
At Anquan Boldin on Twitter as well. And, you know, Anquan, I'd love to have you back on to check in with you periodically as to how you are doing on this front. Anything that we can do here to get people together in this country and love and not hate, I'm all for it. And then another time we'll have you on, we'll talk football, if you're up for it.
I'm definitely up for it, and I appreciate you for having me on, Rich.
Always, Anquan. I've always enjoyed talking with you, and, you know, I always heard about you from Prime before you even stepped on a field in the National Football League. So congratulations on 14 great years, Anquan.
Thank you.
You bet. That's Anquan Boldin, at Anquan Boldin on Twitter.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on radio stations across the country and audience.
If you like that, please download our app. There's lots of fun things there other than just more of the videos you just saw. You can call us from the app. You can email us from the app. Just download it. Trust me, you'll enjoy it.